Okay, today we are talking about oil reclaim systems. So here's an oil reclaim system I designed in 2019 and fabricated for my employer. An oil reclaim system basically, as the name implies, reclaims used oil from a process. So whether that's motor oil, vacuum pump oil, etc. And it basically the used oil comes into the system, into a receiving tank. The oil then flows through a pump, through a filter or a series of filters, and you can kidney loop that oil back up into the receiving tank and back through the filter again and filter that oil over and over again. This particular design, you see that's a 2-tank, 2-pump, 2-filter system, and there's a 3-way ball valve there at the top between the 2 tanks that allows you to divert the flow, again, where you're just filtering the oil in a closed loop through that tank on the left, or if you turn the 3-way ball valve in the other direction, it'll then divert the flow of oil into that second dispensing tank, but again through another filter as well. And then out of that dispensing tank, there's a lockable dispensing valve, and that's where you put your fill jug to refill your reclaimed oil for reuse. And then here's the actual photograph of the finished product. So again, 2 tanks, 2 filters, 2 pumps. They're electric pumps. The filter elements, they come in different micron ratings. So you can start with the coarse micron rating, and then maybe your final polishing filter in that second filter housing could be a much finer micron rating. They also make filter elements out of different materials, depending on what type of contaminants you're trying to filter out of your oil and what type of oil you're filtering. And you can see there's also a drip pan underneath to keep the work area nice and clean, with the drain hole there in that bottom right hand corner where you can drain any collected oil into a bucket, again to be filtered and sanitized. If you look closely, you can see in the left hand tank the reclaimed oil is a dark brown. After it's been filtered, you can see in the right hand tank it's a much lighter amber color now, ready for reuse. By reusing oil, this greatly reduces overhead costs and reduces the cost associated with buying brand new oil, which, depending on the type of oil we're talking about, can be very expensive. So a reclaim station can be very helpful in that regard. Here's another design that I built, and this is just a single station, a small station with 1 pump, 1 filter, and 1 processing tank. You can clearly see in the photograph on the right the green grounding clamp with a grounding rod that goes down into the tank to help dissipate static electricity. There's also a grounding bar that you can just make out just behind the electric motor there, bolted to the black frame. And again, everything is grounded for safety. The green bucket you see in the picture is the clean oil ready to be dispensed or reused again. The red bucket is what they use to collect the dirty oil. And these are stationary systems. Here's a concept drawing I did several years ago. Basically a diaphragm pump sits on a cart. 4 casters, you can roll it around, push it around like a shopping cart. There's a J-hook for storing your dispensing hose, a coupler storage box, and a train of oil filters, as you see underneath the cart. And the way this was designed is you start with, again, a large micron filter, and then you progressively go to a smaller micron filter to your final polishing filter. And depending on which way you turn the valves, the ball valves and the diaphragm pump, you can have the oil go through the filters as one pass and then redispense it, or you can turn the ball valves in the opposite direction and have the oil be kidney looped over and over again through those filters before dispensing it. I hope this helped. Please like, share, subscribe, and leave me a comment for future video topics you would like me to cover.